live. Let's have a look. Dave here, how are you? I'm still looking up in the corner here to make sure that we are going live. Today is the 26th of November 2017. This is Australia, of course, Eastern Daylight Saving Time. How has your week been? Have you had a good time? Has everything, are you getting ready for the festive seasons or the holiday seasons? We used to call it Christmas when I was a kid. They've changed that now because they don't want to, I guess they don't want to offend anyone else from other religions. So there you go. Happy holidays. They'll be coming up in another week or two for everyone. Where are we up to? Let's have a look here. As I say, hope everyone's been well. And checking the stream is running. Yes, it looks like it's going great. And there's a few people have dropped in and said g'day. Angela, good morning. Dave, hope you had a good week. Philippe, hi Dave. Peter, g'day Dave. Good comment on the MTR 18 triangle. Thank you. That was that video. You might notice I was looking a little bit flat at the beginning. I was very, very tired. My daughter had come down the day before and said, Dad, can you help me out with the video for work? Which I did, but it's normally my one day off in the week. I'm not saying that to give her a hard time. I'd do anything for the children, but I was stuffed the next day. So when I was trying to give it all that punch to say hi everyone, it didn't really come across. But look, take pity on me, understand what happened there, and watch the video. It's already had a very good response. It's had a couple of thousand views. And the people from TSO are very, very generous people. They sent me that MTR 18 over because I saw it, and they'd sent the GRS 16 over to me. I saw the MTR 18 and I thought, you know what, that is a perfect companion to the Stanton bench or to anyone that's got an MFT3 or anyone that's got a dog hold table of any sort. This thing is the go-between the 90 degrees and the 45 degrees that you can get anyway with just dogs, and this is all of the angles in between and extremely accurate. You know that I'll only do videos on things that I rate, that I really think are quality products. I won't do videos on rubbish. So there was a comment from someone saying, Dave, it's a lot of money. Yes, normally things that are very good are a lot of money, and I make no excuses for it. I don't get any kickback from it. I'm not paid to tell you anything about that MTR 18. Although the guys have said that they would put my Stanton bench plans on their website for sale as well. But because it's a complementary product, you know, it's a harmony. So if that's being bad, well, I'm sorry. All right, where are we up to? There's a whole lot of people coming in and saying hi. So I'll read through the things here. Photo from where you're watching or projects you are building in your shop. And so here's a photo straight off the bat from someone who's watching. I'm going to change this from smooth to cut. The transition doesn't work any good. It just looks pixelated. But here is, this man is Bob Lewin, and he's got his little pegs up there, the feet are up there while he's watching the show in his lounge room, and that's great. So if you've got photos like that, you know, I'm hanging out in your place, we can share it as well. All right, where are we? I'm going to come back up to here and do a little bit of say good day. Wayne, James, g'day all. Zane, morning. Dave, Bob Macker, morning. Barry Stanton Jr., woodworking, g'day Dave. Barry Stanton Jr. There you go. Ian Carey, g'day Dave. Glad to be part of the congregation today. See Barry, hey. Okay, now Ian, are you going to be here all day? Let me know in the section here, because I was thinking, I think I'm down a moderator or two today. I don't think I've got any. Ian, would you like me to make you a moderator? Just say, yes, Dave, that's fine. And we'll take it from there. And I'll do it on the spot. See, Bernie, there's no knighthood or anything. I don't have to dub you, sir, moderator. That'd be fun. Scott Smith, Dave, can you use argon? Keep the glue fresh on that shelf. I don't know. I have no idea. Sliding down. Bob Macker, Steve Woodworks. Hello, Dave. Joel Romero. Hi, Dave from Illinois with the MTR 18. How does it compare to the miter set? Can the MTR be used in a similar manner? Yes, but possibly only on the indexed angles. I still reckon the miter set for someone that's using a table saw is the better option. This is totally different. The MTR18 is more along the lines of panels for people that are cutting panels out. It's brilliant. It's such a large square, and I've even said it's a little fellow, but you know, it's a large square. The good thing about that is that I can get a good reach. The miter set is absolutely fantastic on a table saw. Drop into the miter slot with something like the goodness, I've forgotten their name already, but the V27 that I have, which is just magic. I love the miter gauge, and I can set that up perfectly, and I have put a sacrificial fence. There's a whole lot of things that you can do with that. I was thinking about possibly making a table saw sled with the MTR18, but I haven't gone down that track yet because you get raising yourself up again where the miter set is flat down hard on the deck, and just the Incra. I'm losing it. The Incra miter gauge that I've got is fantastic. There you go. So where are we? I'm going to keep sliding down here. Barry Woodwork, Dave, how can somebody become a moderator? I will have a look, and all I do is I click a button. So Barry, would you like to be a moderator? Hello from Great Britain, James Chandler, Steve Woodworks, right, Dave, Ian Carey, Marky, get back to work as a woodworker. Isn't it more satisfying to create these things ourselves, aside from the cost, that is? Yes, I get your point, and I do love making my own jigs, hence the Stanton bench. But for some things are just so accurate, and a CNC machine, if you start from a point of standpoint where it's ultimate accuracy, and then you'll get some degradation as you try and replicate it. I have been possibly thinking about screwing this down to a sheet of plywood and tracing it with my pattern bit around the outside to get a really nice square as well that I can use and create different jigs with it as well. But I needed that as a starting point. I've always had rubbish squares. The squares that I've got a very small engineer square, which is absolutely magic. I'm going to use that for setting up the jointer, and it works great. Okay, John Lowry, hello from New York. Steve Woodworks, g'day. Peter Woolworth, howdy. Rob's hello from Bundaberg, that's up in Queensland. Swanka from Ontario. Peter, hi from Brisbane. Save me from election coverage, Dave. I forgot there was an election on up there. Excellent. Robert, yeah, I'm grabbing hold of somewhere to put my hand. I didn't realise. I was touching myself. That's fine, Dave. Okay, Ian. I'll close that. Ian, here we go. Give me a second. There you go. Ian, I have now dubbed you a moderator. So just keep an eye on the chat for me. If anyone comes in and gets a bit rowdy and starts swearing or being abusive towards anyone else or towards me, block them. I give you the power. Okay. Hello from Michigan, Matt Downey. Hi, Dave from the UK. Ian, that's fine, good. Susan Lucas, hi from Belgium. James West, morning, Dave. I'm well. Johannes, how are you? Long time since I was on live. I love the MTR18, but I do not like the cost. But I need it for my home-built MFT that is soon being built. And that's the way it goes. Barry, I'll tell you what, I will also dub thee a moderator. There you go. We've got 5 moderators now. 3 are absent without leave, without pay. And we've got 2 in here. Thanks for the tricks and ideas, Tom. Okay, I've got through the chat. Let me get to the next thing. What have we got? Dave Monet. Now, Dave is having fun over in the States, and he keeps sending me some things. Now, he sent some photos of his wife's incubator, because they're on a farm and they're rebuilding a really old incubator, and I guess they're going to raise chooks. Or maybe something really exotic. Ostriches. I don't know. All right, here we go. Dave Monet. Now, I'm going to talk over the top of this. Dave, there's his dog, is looking after all of the timber that's arrived to build the walls with. And the bottom plates in these walls are treated pine. The rest of the frame is just conventional. But he's gone right around the building there. He hasn't done it himself. He has got a hand doing it. But what a beautiful space. How would you like to have that? And there's his compressor. Now, I like throwing up pictures of different people's compressors because they're all different, weird and wonderful shapes. Well, I have never seen a compressor like that in Australia. All of the tanks that I've seen have been a horizontal tank, and the motor on the top at one end, and the compression cylinder, the piston, down the other end. Sometimes it's all wired up together, so it's all one unit, but it's normally an electric motor and the compression pistons and cylinder. I have seen someone that built one out of a VW motor, which was pretty interesting. I think two of the pistons, if it was a four-cylinder, I think two of the pistons were actually working and the other two were compressing air. People have amazed me. They're very, very clever. Next one. I'm saying a lot. Stuart Cotterill. Let's have a look at Stuart Cotterill stuff. I'll find where... There it is. I'll slide it across so you can see it. Now, Stuart Cotterill has been watching what's happening with my workshop. And I'll read a little bit here. Dave just added a Rikon jointer planer to the shop. So in Australia, we call that an under and over. Tried to keep the 4-inch sewer run as far as I could up to the units, then use flexible hose so I can move both units if needed for space. The fence on the Rikon, same as the Jet, is the only letdown on the machine. Would have liked a Felder or a Hammer model, but couldn't see spending double. Love the helical cutter though. Now, I guess that's because with the Jet, they have an alloy fence, so you can't use mag switches on it. And the reason being, when you tip the fence and the bed up to turn it over into being a planer thicknesser, that's a whole lot of weight if it's a cast iron unit. So that's why a lot of the people use alloy. Now, how many people do like Stuart and like I do and put your under and over or your thickness planer or jointer and bandsaw all in one nest, like Stuart's done there? Be interesting. Throw some comments in. Right, I'm going to do a little bit more reading. Okay. Where are we? I'm going to slide back up here. Okay, I'm getting myself organized. This is Zane to build the Stanton bench. But how do you solder it? Store it. You undo it, put it on top of itself, and slide it under a bed somewhere so it's out of the way when you don't want to use it. Not a problem, Barry. He said, thanks for being turned into a moderator. He's already timed someone out. Good morning from Loveland, Ohio, Bill Wayand. Okay, Sim Paradox, go to Bunnings. They have a compressor with vertical tank. I haven't seen one of those. Ryobi Airwave 401 ship air compressor. I might have to have a look next time I'm down there. Now, one of the other things I want to do today is I wanted to show you one of the projects. You know, remember I made that test tube holder for Vicky with that she's putting cuttings in. Now, one of the things that I've got to let you know, when you're waxing, the wax is only going to be as good as the surface that's already on top of underneath. Now, if you really want to do it properly, you use shellac and put 2 or 3 coats of shellac down so you protect the timber and make it stable, then wax over the top. Or one of the things that I've been told during the week was using Miratone. Now, Miratone is a spray shellac, or a spray lacquer, I should say. 3 coats of that, there's only about 10 minutes between drying. And then wax, and then some 4/0 steel wool, then the wax over the top of that and hit it with a buff pad. And that will last a whole lot longer, and you'll be amazed at how good that is. All right, where are we? Bill Wade, I built your Stanton bench. It's a very well thought out design. Oh, good on you, Bill. I'd love to see some photos. If you can flick me a photo or two on davestantonfans@gmail.com, that would be fantastic. James, I'd love to get a cheap compressor, even though I would only use it once in a blue moon. Compressors are very, very handy. I've got one left over because from when I was on the tools, I had compressed air nail guns for doing framing. And it was as important as a hammer or a square or a nail bag for me. You just had to have it. Well, I kept in that mode, and I also use a compressor for, I do a lot of the servicing on my own vehicles, like with the Dingo and the car. I have a little rattle gun. They're not very expensive, you know, a little pneumatic, does the bolts up, undoes the bolts, and I run that on my compressor. I run the Craig Foreman on the compressor. I clean out a whole heap of things. The carburetors, air filters, I clean out on the whippersnipper. Things like that. You just keep on coming up with things that you go, of course. When I changed the knives on my thickness planer, I took all of the knives off, and there's about 100 or so of them. I took them all off, and I cleaned the head, but first thing I did was blow all of the rubbish out of there with the compressed air. There's so many jobs that once you've got a compressor, you think, how the heck did I ever live without it? Okay, well, that'd be great, Bill, if you could send me a photo. What's the next thing we've got? I'm making sure that I'm running the show and having a bit of a chat at the same time. We are going to do some demonstrations, and I'm going to talk also about sourcing some timber. So we've passed through Stuart Cottrell, and hi Dave, where can you buy the square in Australia is a question I've just had come up on YouTube. Isn't communication amazing? I have all of this communication through. I don't think anyone in Australia is selling it. You'd have to go directly to TSO Products in Florida. So I think I put a link there. If you have a look just under the picture, there's in the description box, I put a few links in there of the different things that I've used in the video. All right. Okay, the next one is Brendan Murphy. Brendan's got doing some keepsake boxes, and let's have a look at that. Here we go. Now, Brendan, I will read what he does. Now, Brendan, these are really, really nice, and for a good reason. Hi, Dave. Some blanket and keepsake boxes I've made in these past few months. Mostly I donate them to the local pet rescue to raffle off and raise much-needed funds for the homeless furry children. Timber is predominantly northern silky oak, red and yellow, mostly quarter sawn and sourced from Tully and the far north. Apart from one large frame and panel blanket chest, they are all constructed with the dovetail joinery using a Gifkins jig. Other timber species used are Queensland maple, silky maple, red salwood. Have some others cut out and machined using red cedar, and we'll assemble those next lot of days off. The red cedar was sourced from 2 parts of the state, and the difference in grain and colour is unbelievable. We'll send a pic later if my memory doesn't fail me. Rough sawn timber, plain, sized and prepared in my workshop at home. So how good is that? Now, not only has he done that I'll get back over here. Not only has he done that for the fun and joy of doing it, of being creative and using your hands and using your noggin, because you've got to use it as you get older, otherwise your head's just going to fall off. Your brains are going to melt out your ears and you won't be able to do anything, and you'll forget things like INCRA. But also the fact that he's got all that done and, donated them. I think it's very charitable. And looking after the dogs, that's great. Or maybe cats. I don't know. He didn't specify. Next thing. We're moving along. I'll do a little bit of a read in the meantime. And John Lowry, I came across a nice dust collector for a drill press, which I feel is the best. The drill bit goes right through it. Try and look for it, and I'll send you the video. Yeah, it was probably mine. I built a manifold that goes over my drill press's quill, and it's got a flexible tube. So as you bring a Forstner bit down, it would shroud, and there was holes all the way around the bottom as well, which would let the air get sucked in, and it would take all the shavings with it, and it was very, very good. I don't use it now because it was only for a specific job that I knocked it up for, where I was doing a whole lot of 35mm cupboard hinges. So that's where I did it. But send me the link for the video. Sounds good. Use an air chisel to clean off old mortar bricks to reuse. It's a great idea. Philippe, Dave, how to make serious money with woodworking. What are the pieces that sell best? I have no idea. I don't do serious woodworking to make money. I do woodworking to enjoy myself. The fact that it's gone into a YouTube as well as just one channel is one of those things that happened off to the side. It's not that wasn't the intention. I'm a kind of person that likes to share information. I don't really suffer ignorance a lot, and so if I can see someone is ignorant, now I'm not saying that in a rude way, but if they're not aware of something, I like to help. That's just my personality. James, I use a steel blower for air filters from my mower. Yes. How are you, Dave? From New Jersey. That's Bob Lewin. How are you, Bob? I just did the picture of you sitting back in your lounge room. So if you have a look at the replay, you'll see yourself there in those lovely slippers sitting up there watching the telly. Stuart, good evening. Stu from Asheville, late but in. Stuart, we've also covered the nest that you've built with your planer thicknesser and your Rikon bandsaw. Daniel Schroth, hi Dave from Vancouver. Jim Rickson, hey Dave, made it from Pennsylvania. Good on you. And Bluey Hanson, g'day from Perth. Next thing. Steve Bruford. Here we go. Now, Steve has got a piece of camphor laurel that he's had lying around for years and years and years. And they've got their men's shed up at Forest Lake, which is up near Brisbane in Queensland, in Australia, is about to open and have its official opening by a Member of Parliament. And the plaque was made by Gregory Machinery. How nice of that was it? How nice of them was that? I know a lot of companies get involved with men's sheds, and it's for good reason. It's to help the community and also to let them know if they do need to source anything to help them out, well, they're more than happy to sell some stuff, and most of them do it for a discount for them as well. So it's all about helping out the community. Now, that men's shed is opening on the 2nd of December, so if you're up near Forest Lake, and I don't know if they're going to throw on a sausage sizzle or anything like that, and I just said anything like that again as I was saying it, I realised it. Maybe they will, I have no idea. Ian Eason, good evening from Penticton, British Columbia. Give me the email I should send the pictures to. Okay, now Bill, maybe in the description box, I don't know if I put it in, but I will put it in after, but the email is my name, Dave Stanton, and put at gmail.com. Oh no, sorry, Dave Stanton Fans. That'll do it. I don't know if the other one actually works. Dave Stanton Fans at gmail.com. I'm getting old. Next thing. Moving through these. I'm going to start ticking a few things off as I get past them. Brendan, Steve, all done. And then we've got Dave Monet done. Brendan's boxes, Stuart's dust line, etc. Yep. And looking across the top there, I think everything has been covered. Now, I did say I was going to talk about what's a men's shed, please. Okay. A men's shed organisation, I think, was started up by one of the churches in Australia. I think it might have been the Uniting Church. I could be wrong about this, but I think it was. And it's an organisation for guys to get together and either have a chat or make things. You know, they'll have a shed or a building or some kind of building that's normally donated by the community, so a council will have a building that may not be used, and so they'll say, right, well, you guys can move into it, and they'll have machines in there, and there's a breakfast room or a kitchen, I should say, and so I think there's a gold coin donation for the year. You know, it might be $2, or some might be more exclusive, might be $50, but you can go in and you can Ron, is that capex really worth 3 times the cost of other? Ron, how are you? Of other what? I don't know. I love my capex. You like your capex, don't you? You knocked me off my perch there a bit, Ron. Okay. Yeah, so the men's shed organisation is basically to stop men who might be lonely for whatever reason. Maybe their wife has died, or they've never married, or you know they're a bit of a they might be having some medical problems, or they might be having depression. There's so many things. Now this is a thing where they can all come together, and there'll be a whole lot of guys there that don't have any issues as well either, and they can mentor each other. And so they'll go and have a cup of tea and biscuits and go out into the shed, and that's what Australians call a workshop in Australia. It's a shed. Duck out into the shed and do some things in a community spirit. Make some pens. I think pen turning is very popular in men's sheds as well. So that's what it's all. I think it's a great idea. Okay. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Wayne, I have a compressor in my garage workshop attached to the retractable airline. After using tools, I blow them and helps keeps the motors in clean much longer. Of course it does. Basam, hi David, how are you? And then we've got Joe would never mind. Dave's got it. Philippe, what's the one tool you can't live without in your shop, guys? Okay, that's a question for all of you guys. Johannes, just sold my DeWalt for a capex. What a change. I've never seen any cuts so good and accurate. It is a lovely machine. It's the same thing as I was saying about the MTR 18. Quality. Buy once, cry once. That's what I tell everyone. Buy once, cry once. Get it done, and then, you know, you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's yours. You do what you want with it. All right, Go Natural Timbers was the place that I was going to show you. Now, they have, and they're not asking me to do this for them. I was just doing a little bit of research. I do know that they are a customer that comes into the store, but they have a pop-up shop at Camperdown, I think, on Parramatta Road. So if you're interested, duck up there and have a look. I think their sale finishes on Tuesday. So 1 week only, from Tuesday 21st to the 28th, all 4 stock, 30 to 50% off. Get in quick before it's all gone. Camphor, red gum, blue gum, black button, more. It's at 106 to 112 Pyrmont Bridge, Camperdown, New South Wales, Monday to Saturday, 9 AM to 4 PM. Now that's inside that pop-up store. So they put a lot of effort into getting it all happening there, which I think is great. Right, YouTube is not receiving enough video. Now, why not? It should be going fine now. Tell me if the stream, guys, I'll slide this back over to here. Tell me if the stream is running cleanly or whether there's some issues. I should be going fine. Look, I'm disjointed all over the place today, but only half an hour gone so far. So I think we're doing really well. Reading through Jicky Raxon, great idea. Another reason to live in Australia. Ricky wants to come over and live in Australia. Reckons everyone wants to leave America and come and live here. Well, I don't blame you. It's a great place to live. But, you know, we still got issues as well. Ron, kidding about the capex. I'm constantly asked on YouTube how I can justify 3 times the price of a Bosch. I'm guessing, Ron, that all depends also on what people want their saw to do and how much time they're going to be spending using a sliding compound miter saw. If you don't use one much and you get by with a table saw, well, I guess that's good enough reason as well not to worry about it. But I've come from, it's the same as you, Ron, I've come from cottage construction, that's what we call it in Australia, or the contracting, and I'd be lost without a drop saw. That's what we called them for years and years. A drop saw, I did cut all my own frames and assembled them. I didn't buy frames pre-made. And as a matter of fact, Vicky used to do all the docking for me for about 2 or 3 years. She was my labourer. That's how we got ahead. Both of us worked really, really hard when we were younger, and now we're enjoying the fruits of it. Yeah, so I get people say, you know, oh, so much money for CapEx, but I love it. I love it. Brendan, hey Dave, we just noticed you're live while watching your Carbotech 8-inch joiner setup video. We're using it right now to assemble the same unit as we speak. Thanks for the great work. Love the videos. Thanks, Brenton. Brenton McFadden. Ron, I would like to get my hands on that red gum. Oh, yeah. Johannes, the Bosch Glide is popular, but not as good with the dust collection as the Capex. Now, I keep on saying to people, I had the option of the Bosch Glide saw and the Capex, and they were both in front of me, and with the Bosch, I found there was movement left to right. The Capex was the most rigid of all of the saws. When I pulled it all the way out to the front to me, there was very, very little play left to right. It was the absolute best of all of them. Now, if you're going to do angles with a saw, the saw blade is going to want to try and pull itself back to being 90 degrees to the point of where it's being pulled from. That's just how it is. So that was one of the main reasons that I got it. Hello. I got a message coming in through the side here. Sorry, I'm at Charlotte's Pass. Okay, so that's one of my monitors. Monitors has said he's down at Charlotte Pass and having a great time. That's John. Good on you, buddy. I'll close that. And I keep on doing the glasses. Angler, how about some thumbs up, folks? Yeah, look, if you're watching and you want to do the thumbs up, that's great. I'm going to get into doing something in a second. Keeps popping up with going offline. Well, looks good to me. Peter, stream dropped out briefly for me, but okay now. It was spotty here for a while, but good now. Okay, Johannes. I'm offshore in the middle of the North Sea and satellite connection, and it's okay with the stream. That's amazing. How cold is it outside, Johannes? Like, he's up way north of the Faroe Islands. That's insane that I could broadcast around the world. But that's amazing. You watch, I'll be broadcasting to the moon soon. YouTube will get a station up there. Jared, at least in the US, more than just radiata. Okay, Stan, looks good from here. Ian Kerry, I was at DeLorean in Tasmania recently for the Tasmanian Craft Show, and I noticed that the Men's Sheds has now called the Community Shed political correctness at work. I guess so. Because a lot of the men's shed will still allow women in, and why shouldn't they? This is my gripe with one or two of them, that they close it off and they dissuade women from joining, and I think that's totally wrong. But they say that there are some people there that have issues with women. You know, I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't answer those questions. They're trying to get sessions for women as well, and they've found that there is interest as well. Of course there is. Women love to be creative. Alternative Men's Shed somewhere share their spaces. It's actually part of Western Sydney Woodturners. Wayne J's streaming is a bit off and on at the moment. Could be bandwidth, but carry on, young fellow. Stream is dropping out. Okay. It's looking okay up the top. I think everything should be fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close this other machine, and hopefully that will help it out. Let's see if that's... I had another computer running here to monitor things. It doesn't normally affect it, but it may have. Next thing, I think we're just about ready to do a demo. Yep. Oh, no, I wanted to also mention Matthews Timbers and also Trend Timbers. Now, if you're after timber that's already been dimensioned, these two places are great. Now, Matthews Timber, I've bought a whole heap of Jarrah from, and they are absolutely fantastic. Now, there's 3 stores, and again, they're not paying me to do this. I'm just letting you know where I get things from. So Matthews are at St Mary's in New South Wales, so anyone in the state down here where I am, at St Mary's, and if you're in Queensland, you can go to Northgate, and in Victoria, they're at Knoxfield. So they're 3 places that you can go for timber, and Trend Timbers as well are at Mulgrave in New South Wales. And Trend Timbers are where the people that I purchased the last lot of timber when I was at the show. I'm going to turn this around. Less chat, Dave. Good on you, John. There we go. This is what you were after, isn't it? I'm going to show you a couple of things over here. I'll swing around to this side and bring this over here as well. Where I can put it. Yeah, just over there. All right. Can't see me. Let's fix that. Tip it up a little and back. That should get me. Swing around here. Let's chat. Don't you like hearing me waffling on? You probably want to see things happening. Okay, I can see what's happening over here. You guys probably can't see it. Steam's okay. Stream's dropping in and out. Janice, not that cold. 6 to 7 degrees Celsius, 34 knots wind speed. So pretty good for this time of the year. Okay, now before I get into the MTR 18 triangle, and I remember its name, even though I didn't really remember it very well then. MTR, I reckon, stands for mitre. What do you guys reckon? MTR, mitre, 18 for 18 inches along there, 456 or 457 millimeters. Now, here's a curious thing. You'll notice on this side, on the imperial side, the protractor runs from 0 degrees around to 90 degrees, that direction. Okay, so I've gone from top right down to bottom left, my right, bottom left. When I turn it over this way, see that? It was 0 degrees there. When I turn it over this way, it's starting from 90 degrees, top right, down to 0. Now, I wonder if there's a reason. Put your thinking caps on and let me know. I thought that was a bit strange. Oh, here's another thing that I didn't mention in the video that you might find interesting. Streaming okay now. Okay. Are you enjoying what I'm doing here now? John, I'm sorry. Sorry if I talk too much. Okay. You'll notice that there's the angles that are marked around here from 0 through to 90 on that arc are not in line with the angles that are running along the back here. See, so that is 60 degrees here and 60 degrees over here. That's because they've got different points of origin. So the center of this circle here is the point of origin for the angle out to there. The point of origin for the 60 degrees here is up on the outside here. So little things like that. If ever you've seen a protractor that's looked like that and you think, what are they doing? It has this section here that's got a rebate along the side of this channel. It's hard to know what to call this. I didn't know whether to call it a dado or a rebate because it's a rebate either side of this channel or trench or whatever you want to call it. And the little T-bolt that goes in there and the brass knob are great for just knocking it into position before you lock it down. But I think most of the work is done by these guys over here. I guess you could use it. No, see, that's the thing. You still got to have the dog in there. You follow what I mean? You understand where I'm going with this? The dog has got to be in there. There's a rebate on that side too. I didn't notice that. Tell me what that one's for. This is fascinating. Live and learn. It may also be for another dog. If you want to put the unit up this way, T-bolt in there, dog in there, then you can put the cursor over the top so it doesn't touch the bottom at all. And then I could have it sitting on a bench without a dog hole in it and still use it to create an angle. So I'd have a piece of timber there and there, and that would work. That would work. Except for it wouldn't run from the origin here. I like to question these things. Maybe Hans and Eric can let me know what's going on with that. It may also be a situation where I know Hans and Eric always have these things up their sleeve. They've always got another thing coming just around the corner. So maybe that rebate there is for another little item that they're going to do further down the track. Okay, so that's enough of that guy. Now the other week I made this little stand for holding test tubes. It's because I'm upside down. Keep chatting, Dave. Zane, of course, 90 degrees is vertical, 0 degrees is horizontal. See, the stream's coming through very pixelated up on the screen here. I wonder why. All right. Okay. Now, there you go. Do you like my holder for the test tubes? The whole thing about this was for Vicky to do cuttings of different plants. And she needed a stand and a test tube stand. Just didn't look like it was very nice, and they're normally open. So we created this one to have the test tubes drop down inside, and that's how it looks. Now, I'm amazed. The roots are starting to come out of all of these things. Of course, ivy absolutely loves it. And it's, you know, probably looks healthier in here than it would in the ground. But I noticed also that because the wax, there's a whole, like that, because there's a whole lot of water, it gets knocked all over this. The wax kind of wears away a little bit, and, you know, you give it a clean and you'll find there's different areas that the wax hasn't stayed on. So that's why I made the comment about the mirror tone or sealing the timber underneath prior to putting wax on. One thing I wanted to show you though was this is how it looked. It looked really nice after the velize, but look how it looks after what I just did. I'm going to bring it up close so you can see. Look at the shine on that. Now, how did I do that? I'm going to show you. A little bit of Triple E wax, only a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. And the velize I use to heat the wax up and, you know, burnish it almost, burnish it back into the timber. That's the first part. Now, I've only put a tiny bit over the top on this, so I'm re-waxing. I'm just going to use a bit of cotton rag, and you'll be surprised how quickly that brings it up. I'll put that there. And this was looking a bit dull. Doesn't take a lot to do it. Make sure that there's absolutely nothing on that rag. Now, if you've got a bench polishing unit, you know that you can get a stand for a bench grinder for sharpening chisels, or for whatever you need a bench grinder for. You can also get a polishing buff and put it on the other side. It's like a flat wheel, but it's all cotton waste, I think. Well, that would also work very, very well. Oh, man, look at this. Look at this. And I've done the ends. It's like glass. Absolutely like glass. Now, I also when Vicky bought these test tubes, she bought them online, and there was someone, she purchased them, and they said, oh, you know, quick delivery. So she was a bit cheeky, and she got in touch with them and said, my husband's a YouTuber. Well, they arrived the next day. So I'm going to give them credit for that, because that's fantastic. Custom Favors is the name of the group. And just search Custom Favors on the internet. www.customfavors, F-A-V-O-U-R-S, not O-R-S, like you guys in America misspell it. I'm cheeky, aren't I? Customfavors.com.au. And that's where we got the test tube from. And they're doing great. What do you think? This sits on a windowsill in the kitchen, and it's happy to be there. It looks great. It's a bit of furniture. The plants are growing well. The roots are all protected from the sunlight down the bottom. And away we go. So that was that. What's the next thing we got? Dan, the MTR18 triangle looks like a great tool. Thank you for reviewing it. Dave, what's the name of the wax again? Okay, it is Triple E Ultra Shine from U-Butte. Again, nothing for David on this particular item. It's what I use. Now, this is also very popular with people who turn pens in Australia. I think what they do is they use the CA glue and they drip it on. They hold, when they get it down super fine, they use the micro meshes down to 16,000. Put a rag underneath the pen, under the timber as it's spinning, you know, when it's down super smooth as far as the sanding is concerned, and drip CA glue across the top of it and hold it and burnish it in. And then I think once that's all been done, that seals the underside of the pen, locks it. Then I think they use the triple E cream. And there's also friction polishes that they use. But this stuff is very, very popular with pen turners. Put it on and then just hold it underneath as it spins on the lathe. And hey presto, magic. I don't mind that for holding the test tubes. What's the next thing? Let me have a look over here. I need to grab my notes, guys. Sorry, I am going to talk a little bit more. I'll have a look over here. Cram. Hi there, Dave. How are you? Hope your family are well. Enjoyed your earlier video. We have had Thanksgiving and the crazy Black Friday sales where people flock to store sales. It get crazy. Okay. Thanksgiving. So you guys in the States and I think a few other countries celebrate Thanksgiving, which is it's a carryover from a religious festival after a harvest. Is that correct? And then the Black Friday sale is the day after Thanksgiving. So I think it's the 4th, is it the 4th Thursday in November that Thanksgiving is? And then, so it would be the Friday following, and it gives you a long weekend. So you've got a 4-day weekend this weekend. And you eat turkey. So at this time of the year, it would not be a good time to be a turkey. Well, last Thursday, anyway. I'm not a fan of turkey meat. Does that mean that I wouldn't be thankful that the harvest had gone through? Does anyone else not like turkey? I just find it's a little bit, maybe it's a bit rich in taste for me. I don't mind chicken, and that's about it. I had one person make comment to me, though, that they eat turkey. Do you guys eat kangaroo on any special day? I said, well, the kangaroo is on our national coat of arms with an emu, and but it is an animal that's native, but also gets into plague proportions. And yes, we do eat it, and some people find that a bit hard to stomach. But kangaroo, very, very lean. It's very good for you, and quite tasty. Anyway, enough of kangaroos. Skippy. Okay. There you go. It means, all it means is the wife spends much on crap. Is it? Too much chat. I'm going to have a bit more chat here because after that comment, I have one person came into the store and said, now, I have to moderate what I'm buying here because every time I walk into the house with something new from this store, basically woodworking tools, I also have to arrive with an equal dollar value of jewelry for my wife. Do any of you guys get that at all? I thought that was quite good. Once I came home with a fish tank, and tropical fish. I thought, this is beautiful. I set it all up. And it only cost me a Kenwood chef. So I had to go get this for Vicky. All right. Next thing. I don't know what else there is at the moment. As I say, a bit flat from last Thursday doing a video. But I've got things coming up. I have got a hold of a few things. I'll let you know what's going to be coming up. I've got a hold of the Veritas doweling jig. Now, this might interest a few people. It's a video I'll be producing in the next few weeks. I've also got, looking around the room here, I've had some people say regarding the Stanton bench that when I'm cutting on the end here, because I don't like cutting into the bench, timber's falling off the side. Now, I am looking at doing a secondary bench that will be almost like an outfeed table. It catches the things that I cut. Because I really don't want to start cutting through this because it destroys the top. If I wanted to, I could undo the apron, turn the bench upside down, take the legs off and put them on this side, and then have that as a sacrificial top and cut into that. That wouldn't worry me. But this side, I would like to try and keep it clean, so it's used all the time and not being destroyed. This is a rare event for me to be stuck for words a little bit. Let me read on here. Thanksgiving is the second Monday in October in Canada. I did not know that you had different days in different countries. I thought Thanksgiving would have been the same all the way through, but there you go. Father's Day is a different day in the Northern Hemisphere as it is to down here. I wonder if it's because Father's Day is in spring down here. I think Father's Day is in September, near the beginning of spring. So for you guys, that'd be 6 months past that: October, November, December, January, February, March. Is it around March, April for Father's Day over there, or is it another day? Let me know. If you don't like turkey or chicken, I'm not sure. I can keep watching. Oh, Joe Parra. There you go. There you go. All right. Next thing. Look, what I will do is I'm looking. I talked about rattle guns earlier. So this guy here, if you don't own a compressor, you can't buy one of these. And these aren't a lot of money. When I first bought this, it was, I've had this for about 20 years. It wasn't a lot of money. And I said to the guy at the store, is it worthwhile getting this, or do I get the one that's 4 times the price? And he said, how often are you going to use it? And I said, probably once a year. And he said, buy this one. The other one's for a mechanic. They'll be using it all the time. So they need something that's going to last and last and last. But this has gone really well, really well. So as I say, this has been invaluable for things when I change the blades on the mower, when I take the wheels off the car and replace them, or take them off to change the tires, all that kind of stuff. Make a side out on the bench top. Cram. Yeah, I could do. I have had people suggest something like that, where I have something that screws to the underside, or I could make it bolt in with the insert nuts. I could put more insert nuts in here and have something that locks up hard up against the underside. And that's an interesting thought. I also have that bench over there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll spin the camera around. You might be able to see it over there on the docking station down there. So this bench here, same principle as the Stanton bench, but it doesn't have any apron. It's and because it's MDF, it's 1 millimeter thinner than the Stanton bench. Now the advantage of that is that I'm not going to jam the blade on the saw. It's going to have a slight drop down, which is really nice. I prefer that to keeping it dead level. Just that last little bit of drop down. It is supported, but as the fibers release it. What's the next question here? Wayne, birthday bash. Oh, that was amazing. I walked out of the show, like we're talking around about 1 week and 10 minutes ago. I walked out the door, not even a week and 10 minutes, but under, 10 minutes under a week. Walked out the door and they were all my children standing there, music coming down from up at the house. I thought, what's going on? I couldn't believe it. Flown in from out of state. Fantastic. Yeah, very, very enjoyable. Thanks, Wayne. It also was Wayne's birthday the same day. This is the part of where to get the hardwood. Okay, Sim Paradox. The hardwood, as I was saying, there's a pop-up store is happened in Camperdown on Parramatta Road, and I don't know how long they're going to be there for. They're called Go Natural Timbers. There's Matthews Timbers in New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria, and they're the ones that I use all the time. And then we've also got Trend Timbers. Now, before anyone goes, I'm going to show you, I'll get the Dowling jig, and I'll show you quickly before we close it up today so you can see what I will be doing the video about. Give me a second. So when I say the dowling jig, the Veritas dowling jig, I will turn this around this way, and you can see it. There we go. Now, I don't think it's a new product at all, but this is the bad boy here. I put a couple of photos on Facebook of it and say, guess what this is? Now, there's a series of knives. I think you feed the timber in from that side. I try not to get into a device too early. If I've got other things here I need to review to give you guys content, well then I will wait until I've got that one done. I don't multitask well, so I like to engross myself in a tool before I start showing it to people. There's a whole lot of capacity at the back here for adjustment. It's got holes down the bottom here for bolting it down. Super duper sharp blades. Feed the timber in there, square section, it comes out the other side as a dowel. There's a whole series of different sized dowels. Now, I had someone get in touch with me on the channel and say, Dave, can you do a video on it? Because I want to buy one. And there's no videos out there on how to do this. And I checked myself and I couldn't find anything. All I could see was people feeding the stuff in, and that was it. No one showed me how to set it up. So that's the reason I got in touch with Veritas. And I said, can you send one over for me? Because I really am interested in having a look at it. I'd like to know how to set it up. So I'm going to go through all of that process. One of the reasons I wanted 20mm dowels for this bench, you can see that at the moment I'm running a theme here. Everything to do with this bench I'm very, very interested in at the moment. It's only because I was interested in building the bench and helping a few people out with it. And remember, you can get the plans if you want to. Check the description box below. That's a little plug. That's about the only plug that I'll do. Have a look in the description box. There's a few links down there. Use them if you can. So I want to get my head right around this device and see if it's going to work. I think it will, because Veritas doesn't put anything out that's crap. They always do good stuff. So that's that. Now, I did mention timber. This is what I got from Trend Timbers. How nice is that? Now, this is African Padauk. And I'll keep my finger over how much it cost me. But isn't it beautiful? Look at the other side. Now, how do they get it? How do they get it to look like that? Because on the edge, you can see the edge. That's in its natural state. They've used a product called End Sealer. And I've done it on a couple of things here as well. And it just gives the timber its wet look. You know, when you buy some timber, you spit on it, have a quick look at how the grain's going to be. That's all they've done. They didn't spit on it. They put not End Sealer, grain. Oh, I'm going to get the stupid thing. They'll be here somewhere. Where are we? Sanding sealer. This stuff. God, I'm having one of those days, guys. I'm sorry. Sanding sealer. So that's what they use. It has a little cap that you squeeze the top there, and it opens up, and you pour it out onto a rag, and it soaks it up quick. So you use this stuff, rub it over, you give it a very, very, very light sand, 400 grit, and another quick hit, and leave it. And then you can put any finish over the top of it. This just locks the grain and holds the colour. I've had other people say, Dave, I just use sanding sealer and I don't put anything other finish on it because it doesn't yellow the timber up at all. You know, over time, the ultraviolet light gets the timber and it makes it go yellowy orange. It's not doing it with this. Sanding sealer. All right, you want to see a couple more pieces? I'll grab them and show you. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I absolutely love Purple Heart. So what do you think of that? Under the lights, you can see it. It's popping. How nice is that? Again, on its own. And also, when you cut it, it's brown. And over time, exposed to ultraviolet light, it goes purple. And then also red cedar. Now this is Australian red cedar, which is really, really nice. And you can see that's in its natural state. And then here we go with the sanding sealer. Beautiful. What do you reckon? All right. I think that might just about do me for today. I'll try and get some more things happening for next week. As I say, I was under the pump. I pushed out 2 videos this week. One for me, one for my daughter. And I tell you, when she came down, she said, "I'll only take a few minutes, Dad." And I said, "It takes 8 hours for 5 minutes of video that I create." And she said, "Oh yeah, good." Well, she was here longer than that. And it's still not finished. And it's only a 6-minute video. So there you go. The show, I always enjoy doing the show, and I'm sorry this week that I didn't have anything, that I was running machines. I'm going to get something together for you next weekend that will be involving one of the machines. I haven't worked out which one yet. I try and get something so to let you guys know prior to me turning the show off that what I'll have for next week, but I just haven't had the time this week. All right, so thank you for watching. I'll turn this camera around this way. Where are we? There. That's okay, isn't it? I think so. I think so. And I'll have a quick look at the chat before we go. There's Dave, not sure the name, but I used to get rough sawn wood and lumber yard behind the zigzag railway on Bell's line of roads. Do you know the zigzag railway? I built the railway station. How's that grab you? That was many, many years ago. That would have been in 1988, I think I built that. Okay, memories going, young fella. It's all downhill now. Susan Michael, Lucas, Miratone, Sanding Sealer, great product. Okay. John Lowry, thank you, Dave, for your time. Ginny, the chat was really good, Dave. No apologies needed. Yes, thanks, Dave. John DeBest, thanks, Dave. Have a good week. I will try, John. Thank you. Daniel, thank you for the effort and time. Excellent information you provide for all of us. Thank you. Another great show. See you next week. Bob Mack, a very informal, laid-back show. It was indeed, Bob. But as I say, I like to try and punch things along and have a good show. Oh, I had a snake during the week. How's that grab you? On Thursday, while we were doing the video, a snake came up through the garden, big black snake. So, Bob, keep your eye open. At the moment, when I'm going outside, I'm making sure when I'm walking around and come around a corner of the building, I'm looking down as well. Because normally, you're just walking along and out you go. There's you tread on a snake. And I've nearly done that before today. And who makes the sanding sealer? U-Butte Products do. You get them where I work. Johannes, get some more thumbs up before you leave the chat. Thanks for the time, Ian. Thank you. And look, that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and I shall see you next week. And I hope to punch out a new video next week as well. If I don't, it's because I'm getting tired. But it should happen. It should happen. I enjoy doing it. It's just I'm down a bit today. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.